I'm Eva Oh, and this is the Teakink podcast. I've been a dominatrix since 2011, and I would like to spill the tea on my life. Thank you for listening.
Hello, welcome to the Teakink podcast with two people from what podcast?
Playful Magazine and Playful Podcast. Now also Playful TV.
All the podcasters in one bed. But who are you? Who are you? Apart from the Playful podcasters.
Apart from that, I am Amanda from Sweden and from Sweden.
Amanda from Sweden. No, yeah, and I'm Filip.
Where are you from?
Also from Sweden.
You're also from Sweden.
Yeah, we're two Swedes living in Berlin, living our life here since I think I'm always exaggerating saying 7 years, but I think it's 6 years we've been in the city.
That's quite long.
Doing our stuff.
How long have you had the podcast?
So we started the magazine like half a year into living here.
Okay.
And we got the idea to start Playful.
Yeah.
And then it was a print magazine.
So 5-6 years ago.
The print magazine was from then, but the podcast only 1.5 years.
Okay. Yeah. I read about that. It was mostly because there was a paper shortage, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it worked out.
Yeah.
I feel like podcasting is the very popular medium these days.
It is.
It is.
And especially like in this country.
Uh.
I mean, they're not so fast with new trends and everything. So like, I mean, in the US and Sweden and these other places, I mean, podcast has been a thing for a long while and people come into like listening all the time. But in Germany, no. But now it's suddenly happening. They're just discovering podcasts, I think. And so it's like now it's...
Might as well be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And you mostly interview people in music and in the sex industry?
Yeah. So when we had the print magazine, those were the two topics that were most popular.
Okay.
So to us, it was natural to focus on the two of them.
What were you talking about before that?
We were also featuring like photographers, anything that was visual, artists who are more so like maybe burlesque artists or like performers in various fields. And
So the concept was just to feature Berlin in general.
Exactly. It was the super local. Yeah.
But it's not so local anymore.
No, exactly.
They've interviewed me.
We did. One of the first, like I would say top 10 first, and also absolutely top 10 best.
Why? So, what makes it the best? One of the best?
No, but I think like from the way that people actually responded, it's one of the most viewed. It's one of the. It's one of the. It's also like one of the podcasts where I kind of, I don't know. It was like I was feeling like, okay, we're really doing this now. We're doing it because you had such a strong persona and the whole. Yeah, professional in this place. It was something that just opened my eyes, and I felt like I want to do more of this and this kind of interviews and
giving a lot of content. Sometimes I feel that some people are like good at talking in podcasts, and some people get nervous or like are shy to speak too in depth or like reveal things. But if you know what you are speaking about and have something to say, it's always a chance, I feel, in the podcast, unless you know the people you're having.
So how do you choose people? What makes you choose people?
That's a good question. I think it's a lot.
How did you choose me?
Oh, well, we had been checking you out for a while, and then
perverts. They're perverts.
Yeah, we are. That's it. No, and then we also saw that you had this was before teakink, but when you had done some interviews, you've done a lot of interviews. So like we knew that you are very intelligent and like a very have very amazing so this is also something that has become important to us, to speak to sex workers about sex work and these things, because it's something that in Sweden, for example, is super censored. And they never invite any sex workers to speak about the profession. They are only like psychotherapists. Maybe there would be like a trafficking victim, maybe. But, it's very like a longer arm to the law in this sense. And since we moved here and got to know a lot of sex workers, it's become a very important topic for us to lift and to get like the actual picture of what it the work is like.
I think we come from a place where we see the media in Sweden, for example, and we live by the Nordic model, as you know, like when it comes to sex work, and we're kind of indoctrinated into this. And we felt like in Sweden, people are not really talking to people who do the work, don't speak to the sex workers, for example. And we want to do something where we actually talk to the people who is in the business, and people can talk to themselves, be empowering and whatever. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. And I think we come from a world where this is not really the case. I think in Sweden and the Nordic countries, it's all speaking about like sex workers, about anyone.
And comparing it to trafficking victims, which is two completely different things, right? But it's just the comparison is always going to be there. So even when we had the print magazine and we were at a party in Sweden. So in Sweden, if you're a female and a feminist, you cannot be by any means be pro sex work. That's just how it is. And we were at this party and there were 2 Swedish actresses in the party, and our friend just like, when I say actresses, I mean like, since culture workers normally are a little bit more liberal, at least that's how many people view them, I guess. But then our friend like brought up our magazine and they looked at it and they got furious because we had featured Berlin Strippers Collective. And they were like, how can you promote trafficking and paint a picture of women in this sense, or like frame them in like this? And we were like, well, actually, it's one of the like person in collective themselves who's been taking the photographers, who is a photographer. And the interview is like approved by them. So it's their story, you know, but it's still, to them, it's just irrelevant.
How old were these people?
Maybe 43.
Okay.
45.
Is this changing amongst the younger population there?
No.
It's hard to say now. Like,
I don't think
we haven't been there really. Like, we haven't been active in the scene in Sweden now since we moved here. So it's a little hard to say. I think, but looking at the political climate in Sweden right now, it's going unfortunately the opposite direction. I would say it's more conservative and more right wing and these things. So I read this article about that young kids nowadays don't even party because they are so aware about. They must get a good job and like put in all their time in their health and going to the gym and get a good education.
It's probably just waves of culture and politics. I think that's fairly normal, unfortunately. People are quite predictable that way. So would you say that the Playful Magazine is also turning into a little bit of a political statement in some ways? Or maybe it's just representative of you? It sounds like it's like your baby and maybe it's just growing like that, or do you have a particular vision for it?
What a great question.
Trying to get my baby to become a socialist.
It's funny though, because I think it's always been a little bit political in some sense, but in a way where we are not like
preaching.
Exactly.
Like I think we are political without making a proper like in your face stance. Just by doing what we do, I think that is politically enough.
So what motivates you with the whole thing then?
Like, I can see that the first issue we ever released, we were like, let's do something like Playboy. And that's how we even got to the name of Playful. And then we had our friend Scotty the Blue Bunny, who's like 55. You know Scotty? Yeah. So we had him on the cover, which is also a little fun remake on the Playboy concept. So, I mean, it's not maybe political, but in some way, maybe it is. So, I think we always wanted to just like have a... like lift people who are, the most important I think it has been to lift people who are choosing, like going their own path. And I think it's quite easy to find people who are not living like according to the societal norms in Berlin. I think it's a city that kind of like attracts people who are questioning it.
And when you kind of followed the path of now music and sexuality is popular, would you say that those were elements that you were interested in anyway, or have they become more important to you since discovering this and concentrating on it? Or were they aspects of you and they were like, what is your relationship to both of those things?
For me, I would say like because now we're interviewing a lot of techno artists and electronic musically, mostly, or like almost 95%. And I hate the techno when I was in Sweden. And electronic music, I just like, that's just pushing a button.
Okay.
And then so I came in with I had
opposite
like no understanding of it. Okay. But since I came to Berlin, I mean, we didn't start Playful the second we came here. So for me, the techno kind of, I guess everyone who comes to Berlin who is a hipster comes in, and then they explore the electronic music scene. I mean, it's like it's so open and so accessible.
It's a given kind of.
So for me, it was like, wow, there is actually, I'm proven wrong. There is something about this that I really like, and I got a much bigger respect for all the DJs and everything. Mm-hmm. And to that point where I felt like, wow, this is really cool, and something I got really interested in. So I kind of shifted.
What's cool about it to you?
I think just creating, for me now, electronic music can put me in a completely different state than other music can, because it can be so, I don't know, it's almost like a meditation sometimes. I think it's a very efficient way of creating a vibe.
So
if you know, but so just sure. We're only going to speak about music in this podcast that much, but
techno
that changed for me and my way of viewing techno.
So how did you book these artists without not like even liking electronic music?
Oh no, we had. So we started
liking it
halfway. In. Yeah. Okay, so
I was already liking it then.
So you already knew some people.
But I was a newbie. So I think also both you and me, like we have been. I think when you are doing the interviews as well, you're very open with that. You don't know everything about like
somebody
or the techno music.
Yeah, I know nothing about the technical part of the music, and I'm not super
producing and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not interested, since I'm not producing or a DJ. I'm not interested in that, but I'm very interested in like the journey of people deciding to go their own way. I mean, all forms are creative paths, or like sex positive like work. I think that's something that it's different. Like you have to have decided on it. Maybe not now, actually. Maybe not now. Now it feels like a lot of people are becoming DJs, so that's not maybe true. But I feel that I'm very interested about choosing a path for yourself that is not like
the norm.
And
why?
Exactly.
What's interesting about that to you?
I think because I've been often, I think in Sweden it's so obvious that we're like how we're supposed to live, and I never felt comfortable with that. And I think that I left Sweden when I was 18. I was always wanted to go away because I did not feel so free there, or that I could really relax maybe, or
same.
Yeah.
So what makes you comfortable?
I'm comfortable when people are not like judging me. Like it can be only the way that people look at you walking the street in a certain outfit or whatever, but I felt that in Berlin no one gives a fuck about how what you dress like, or if you say something that is maybe extreme, or that people are just like seen worse, or like something crazier,
Yeah,
so
you're never
like
the
left
worst.
alone.
You're never the most crazy. You're never. It's always someone. If you're having the worst hangover and you're like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Shit. And you can always know there is someone in the next neighbor, like in the next building having it worse. Yeah. Calm down.
Okay.
Then that makes me feel calm.
There's somebody worse off than you nearby. Okay. And so you kind of grew into a relationship with music. Was it the same for sexuality?
What a good question.
And what a journey.
And what a journey, seriously.
So when you came together to Berlin, right?
Yeah, I had never been in Berlin before I met Filip, which is 10 years ago.
You?
Yeah, I visited. I was going here for the weekends. Not all weekends, but a couple of times, yeah.
And what did your sexualities look like at that point when you moved here? How would you have described yourselves?
Monogamous and constantly cheated on.
constantly shitted on.
Cheated on.
Cheated on.
This was maybe not when you moved here, because it wasn't. It was like. It wasn't by me. It was by
my ex.
But yeah, I think that we both have been very open-minded from the beginning. Like when we started meeting, we were like, you knew that my sexuality is like fluid, and that has been something we talked about. Like, yeah, if you wanna, like when we met, we were like, we're not gonna be the last one to have sex with each other, but we were pretty like happy to hang out with each other. So that was a conversation we had, but we had no words for like open dynamics because we had no friends who shows that. And I think we're both people who are like, don't need to label anything really, but we're just like, this is, I think we're very like non-judgmental, and also people who don't need to like fit into a certain
category.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe.
Always run away from that stuff.
So you were potentially fluid in your minds, but you didn't have a framework to work with that when you first moved here.
Yeah.
And then where do you think you stand now? Just fluid.
In
sexuality or in
sexuality.
Good question. I've always been like, I never wanted to put like a label on my sexuality.
But do you have preferences?
But I think I think I also have to put a label on sometimes to make myself secure. I don't know, but I've been trying to. I mean, Berlin has been a journey, and I feel like I've been welcomed by the city and by the people that we meet and everything. That you can try things out, and you can try. It's okay to explore with people and with same gender, all genders, la la la, and it's. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to come with this.
Yeah, I think in my experience with you, it's something that you are. It's a road that you're traveling, and it's up and down, and it's changing all the time.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it has been the same since I was like a teenager. I think, maybe I'm more interested. I don't know. Filip thinks I'm a lesbian.
I'm 100% sure you're a lesbian.
What makes you say that?
We're still married and together, but
obviously I'm super attracted to you.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Other than that, you're What makes me think? Yeah, because you're like the way that you behave and the people that you flirt with.
But
it's almost 99% women.
Yeah, because I think it's really hard to find men who are like I'm attracted to, and it's not that I'm not. I would consider myself really into men as well. But it's more so hard to find relevant men.
I understand that. What makes a man relevant to you?
I guess down to earth, and also not too self-absorbed.
Okay, yeah.
And also not... I mean, I guess it's also hard to be a man because you have to be, like... masculine, and you should take care of things, and I think it's a game, and I think games are off-putting to me in that sense. I like playful games and like having fun, but I don't like when people are not being themselves or are relaxed or pretentiousness. I hate it.
Or feel the weight of an identity that they haven't yet understood for themselves, and I think a lot of men are trapped in that. Not necessarily by their own fault, but by like a societal framework. And so it's also hard for me to see them as attractive because they're so worried about what they need to be. And it's sad because it's a problem for them, but I also don't need it to be my problem.
No, definitely not.
And you are so good with words.
And
it's like you're inside of my mind.
Yeah, and I think women also obviously suffer this, but maybe because I've lived that story myself, I can understand and empathize with it more, have more patience for it. Maybe.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah.
And
when you were saying playful, what do you mean by playful then?
Maybe like playful games. Like, for example, we hung out quite a lot this weekend.
Yes.
And it was all about the playful
What was
games.
your favorite playful game this week, essentially?
Okay, I really enjoyed peeing on our friend, sitting back to back with you. It was super fun.
At the lab.
at the laboratory on Wednesday.
In the 2-story pee pit. I've talked about it on the podcast before, but yeah.
Now they know. Yeah. I think that was cute. A good start also to...
Yeah, it was the start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you doing? Oh, you were holding clothes.
Right. That was my favorite.
You were a clothes holder.
Yeah.
But then you scrubbed him clean with what you thought was soap, but it was lube.
That was very funny also.
Yeah. But we went over so fast. I mean... Yeah,
we were there for 4 hours, right?
Yeah,
but it went really fast. I wanted to do all the activities, and we did them.
Activities.
I thought the dark room was pretty funny on Sunday.
Yeah, how open are you in teakink?
I'm pretty open.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm pretty open.
Yeah, that was, I think, my favorite thing. So, I know because Filip told me.
Okay, I'll tell the first half because you weren't there during the first half. No. So basically, this person was like being really good about trying to woo me, essentially, right?
Can I say one thing before?
Yeah.
Because Filip told me that you told him that, like, I have a new kink.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So earlier on in that evening, there were so many of this specific body type around that I just like mentioned to Filip that I'm going through a small phase at the moment. I think it's because I've been lifting a lot lately. And so I've been looking at like a lot of bodybuilding women on my Instagram. My Instagram's like full of it. And then every now and then you get like a bodybuilding dude. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try that. And so I've been going through a small phase where when I see like big dudes who can't like hold their arms close to their body, I'm like, I want to make them touch their toes. You know, I feel like I'm going through that phase. But yeah. And so did you see me with this person?
Yeah, we were hanging out
upstairs.
Yeah, so not in the dark room.
Not in the dark room yet.
After.
But then as the night goes on, all of these body types are around, whatever. But I'm not really paying attention to them because men. And then one of them persistently tries and like is like asking if I need anything. It's being really polite and like making nice conversation, offers me drinks, etc. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll talk to you. I'll relent, whatever. And then he starts to suggest that I go to his hotel. And I'm like, boring. I don't want to just go to your hotel and have sex with you. But then I saw you two. We were walking around. And I'm like, actually, I have a better idea. What if we have sex in the dark room and my friends watch? Because that would be much more interesting than just going back to your hotel room.
I mean, the response time when you asked me was very short.
It's like, yes. Yeah. So like we basically run to the dark room, all four of us. And he's like, I actually need to go to the bathroom first. I'm like, just piss in the corner. I'm sure people piss on each other here all the time. And he did. And then I realized that there's no light in there. And then I need you to have a torch. And you can take over the story from here.
Yeah. So I put on the flash and within an instant, people are...
It's like moths. Literally like moths.
Yeah, it's like 100% like wasps, and they are. I mean, in Berlin, there's so many. Like, I don't know where they come up from. It's like,
yeah.
They're coming up from the ground.
My worry was that they would cover my sight.
Yeah. So you start to protect the doorway.
I was protecting the doorway.
Was that maybe you'd feel uncomfortable?
Oh no, I don't feel uncomfortable.
I was actually more. Of course, I would care about if you felt uncomfortable, but my worry was that they would stand in front of you with your light.
Okay, good.
And that you would, and I know you, because like if that would happen, you would be like angry down there, like I didn't see anything, and you would be so sad with that afterwards. So I was more like I want Amanda to have a good view, and I want them to stay out and just
But anyway, this guy's pissing in the corner. I realize I can't maneuver my outfit, so I just take it all off, but I keep my shoes on because I'm not being barefoot in the dark room. And then oh my god, like, I mean, do you actually because I haven't watched the porn that you're in, are you actually having sex in it? Yeah. Oh, I have to watch it. No, we all have to. But just to say, when it started, which it did pretty quickly, I mean, there's like no one in the world, I'm thinking right now, hotter looking than Eva. Like the whole way that you're like in your body. And this is the, like, you know how in some porn people are very aware about
angles or the way they look and such. It's like it comes so natural to you that you are in this for your pleasure, you know? But it's just so fucking steamy. So it was freaking hot.
I dumped my clothes on you.
I was holding them while having the flash. And I can imagine
You're protecting
the look
the
of
door.
my face.
I remember the look of your face. Oh yeah, this and also like.
I think I said several times, I'm so happy right now.
Yeah.
And I turn around and like the guy stops pissing and I'm like, all right, cool. And then I ask you for a condom and we had a condom. I rip it open and then I turn around to the guy and he's just not hard at all.
Yeah.
And
was.
You had already started. So just to say, like, it was not that no penetration happened, but it was definitely steams before that. So like the whole sexual energy was like explosive.
Yeah.
But
when you saw that, it was more like, okay,
I was like,
now we know this will be.
Like, okay, this is over. All right. What about you?
Yeah. Like, Filip, deliver.
I'm guarding the room. I was so
you
not
can't
prepared for
switch
that.
so quickly.
I was
then I was like, forget it.
Can have 2 minutes? You forget it.
But that was
I like things when I ask.
I got a real steamy kiss.
Oh,
so I was
yeah.
anyway very happy with it.
Then I took my clothes and then I like tried to put them on and then you saw the guy like run behind us and like try to avoid us the rest of the night.
Yeah, he ran away.
He ran away.
So shame.
Oh.
He was like, yeah,
Shout
I
out to
partied for
him.
2 days.
Yeah.
You're like, that's not an excuse.
I mean, why do you make all of these suggestions if you know that that's the case? Like,
imagine if you would actually go home with him.
yeah, what a
leaving
waste of time.
but he also maybe he was not really prepared. He was gonna showcase this
In a dark room with a torch after peeing in the corner.
It was maybe a little bit too much for him. I'm gonna jump in for his support.
Maybe. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes, he will watch this now. No pressure. Like it was a train to the dark room coming down.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was super cute. Oh, what a good.
So that's what you mean by playful?
Yeah,
these kind of things, exactly. This is what we like.
This is what makes also the I feel that like the topics you speak about are changing a lot depending on who you hang out with, what you do, etc. And I feel that some of the people I hang out with before, now that, or like when I met them, I feel that maybe the conversations can be a little bit stagnant because we have so many different values on some. Of course, I have very, very close friends too that I think have amazing values, and they're still like, yeah, we're still relevant to each other. But yeah, the people who are like want to have fun and who are not like scared of going
to the dark room, getting a guy to piss in the corner and then expect him to perform.
Yeah, the people who really want to live life to the
fullest. Just like every other person.
Just like every other person. Yeah.
I'm very activity based.
You are
so
very fun. Very, very fun.
Yeah.
The first day and also the first Wednesday.
Glory hole.
Yeah, you were like, let's go. That is like
piss platform.
It was like stations.
Yeah. I mean, we were at the lab. It's like a playground.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed in there so often.
No. So you really make the most out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing this weekend?
I mean, that darkroom story is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I particularly like that he couldn't get it up, actually. That makes the story even funnier.
It does.
I think. I mean, it would have been hot or whatever, but I think it's much more funny.
For the audience, it was a little bit of disappointment. But otherwise.
But also, like, the hovering guys, it was really quite amazing. It really was like the moth to the flame, you know?
And I always, this might be me being, how do you say, fördomsfull? Like,
protective?
No,
prejudice?
Oh.
Like my kind of way of how I look at it. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like my expectations of the dark room in Berghain specifically, because that is so unstraight. Is that like that?
Oh, yeah.
But this, like, as soon as you took your
and with
clothes
that,
off,
you don't mean that it's filled of lesbians. With that, it's not being straight. Is that it's
gay men,
just,
like
exactly.
very like beer and twink kind of vibe. That's what I felt before always when I go in.
I mean, it's gay men mostly, but when there's action, there's action.
Yes, nobody really cares actually. Maybe.
No, they just want action.
Little wank.
Yeah, they don't want people walking around doing nothing. I think it's more the problem.
Coming and seeing it like a gallery.
Yeah. I
was expecting the wasps more in Kit Kat, for example, than there. But the wasp was still.
Yeah.
They find their way.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Kit Kat, there's sex everywhere. Whereas at Berghain, now it's more localized to specific areas.
Yeah, that'd be rude.
What happened? When did that change? Because at one point, when like Berghain first started, I didn't realize at all that there was really little sex, maybe only in the dark rooms, and it was like people wore colors and it was about the music, and that was that. And then it went through this phase of like everybody's starting to wear black and fucking, and then now it's just like mostly black.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's changed? I guess, is it also phases? Is it mostly tourists? Is it like different kinds of people coming to Berlin? Or
yeah, good question. So there are all these forums on internet and Reddit where people speak about like how can you enter Berghain and all these things, and there people are recommending that you should only wear black, you should look very sad and depressed, and you should not speak to anyone in the line, and you should preferably come alone. And then I think that makes people like less diverse.
Yeah. And do they ever talk about sexuality on there? Like how to engage in a sexual nature in that space? Or
I know I once read a post, or maybe it was on social media, that someone said like, there was this guy who washed his dick in the sink, and then there had been another person who came up to him and said like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you cannot wash your cock in the sink. And people got super angry with the person who told him off. That they were like, if you don't agree with how we are acting in Berghain, you can leave, kind of. And then people were like, bravo. Like, they want to keep the sex positivity for sure, and they want it to be like a...
And so many people also say that actually the opposite, not the opposite of what you're saying, but the opposite, like that was actually more sex before, but that was maybe even a period before when you started to go, maybe.
Oh, when did you start going?
I'm older, so 19 years ago.
But you were not very old when you 19
I was
years
21.
Ago. Yeah, so it's still
maybe?
like
yeah, and I think so, because in the beginning it was like a super, like it's 100% gay club back when they started.
Oh, was it?
When they opened.
Wow, I was oblivious.
And that was when people were fucking everywhere, as I understand it. Like, kind of, it was more like a gay sex club.
It used to be Osgood that was only a gay club.
Oh.
So people expected it. I know that we interviewed Sven, and he said that when the shift happened, I don't remember really the year, but 2004 maybe Berghain opened, and before that was Osgood. So when Berghain opened, a lot of people came up to him and said like, so why it's not like Osgood, I don't like it. And he was like, it's not Osgood, it's Berghain. It's something else. So people expected it to be a gay club still. So the transformation was a little bit slower.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think that like maybe like when tourists come to a place, it's usually, I think it's less sex. Because tourists are tourists, they come mostly there to just watch. I mean, it took us maybe a couple of times in sex positive clubs and stuff before we actually feel like
comfortable,
to do something and like take the space. So, but I don't know, I think it's I don't know, I see Berghain as a techno club with a lot of freedom, but where it is some small spaces where people are doing stuff, and if you want to do it, you can do it, but it's not mostly focused on it.
I would call it a vanilla club, like in my worldview. I know, which is very skewed in some other direction, but for me, it's like one of the only one I go to because I feel comfortable. Yeah. And even though it's kind of maybe annoying that they have these Reddit forums telling people how to dress and everything, it also makes them more aware, and I feel less worried because of that. Yeah, like people don't talk to me as much, or if they do, they ask first, rather than just assuming. Yeah. So no matter what I wear. Yeah.
Totally. That was also a journey, like how you feel comfortable being dressed, like
or not dressed.
Exactly. Like it took a while before I felt like, oh, it's so nice to just be naked and having no one give you a second look.
Yeah. Or being aware that they have their own process to deal with, and it's not your problem.
Yeah. I think that's my next thing.
What?
More naked.
Be more naked?
Yeah.
Oh, what was your last thing?
I have the thing that I have right now, and it's like boring outfits in clubs.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I've been struggling a lot with finding my way of expressing myself clothes-wise in a club, because I think I think I think kink wear is quite boring for men sometimes. Yeah, I don't know, but
what's interesting looking to you?
This is the question I'm asking myself every weekend. And I don't know really. I think it's interesting with playing with gender identities. That's fun. I mean, the most hot I felt sometimes has been when I've been wearing, for example, in Fetish Guerrilla, the last
fetish ball.
Fetish ball. I didn't get in because I didn't have an outfit that was properly proper fetish for Kit Kat, because we didn't plan to go. So I just had my backpack with some like a harness or something. So and the gang that I was with, you for example.
And we were anyway on the list, but they were really hard.
Yeah, but everyone had like latex full on, and I was just the only one with like, here's my harness, and they were like, so I had to go home and I had to be creative, and I just found Amanda's underwear. What would you call like a
bodysuit?
Like a body underwear stuff.
Yeah, what is it called? It's like a bra and
like a corset almost.
Panties but with.
I don't like a body, like a body. I don't know.
Just a body lingerie red.
Yeah.
And you
fit into it.
I actually had bought it for Amanda like a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Or something. So I was like, this one I like, and I like it. Very sweet.
Yeah.
View.
What shoes did you wear?
I think I had my like Dr. Martens or something.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it fitted, but it was like very
tight.
Very tight.
Yeah.
But it fitted, but I could feel like then it was something more. I felt like, and I had I was feeling like I was walking around there, going to the toilet. I was like, here I am.
You were feeling pretty.
I was feeling pretty in some way.
Also, I remember the first time you tried on heels. That it was an instant.
Yeah.
It was not. You were not trying them on and like hiding a bit, but you were like blossoming in them. You were like, I love these. I feel so pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think I have to maybe dive in there, dare to dive in there a bit more and explore that. Maybe.
Yeah, start with tight, colorful things first and see how you go. I mean, because those can be all sorts of forms.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. It can be much more mask.
Yeah, and also like I am honestly a very, very comfortable person with being naked for example, in beaches and these things, like not in a non-sexual way. Which I also like, the Bali and the spas and the German culture where you go naked. And I think that is also like now this, to go back to our tasks when I was showering our friend in that little room in the laboratory. First thing I'm like, I'm not gonna be naked. That's uncomfortable. But as soon as I take my clothes off, I feel fine. Then I feel like this is more like, it's nice. It's like it's just like, here I am.
You didn't want to get lube on your underwear.
No. No, but I think
they should put at least one shower dispenser in there. Shower like soap dispenser.
Yeah,
they should.
With like labels,
Yes.
Yeah. After you've been dirty, you want to be clean.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, maybe that's. I would love to have a space like the lab that I could go to. Yeah, like a queer cruising club.
Yeah.
With like little activity spots and stuff like this. part of me wants to start it, but also I'm like, how profitable would that be?
Yeah. But super true. Like a more female-friendly cruising area is something that would be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really come across a queer cruising spot.
No.
Not and like there's obviously you can go to places and stuff like this, but not like that has activities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Queer,
yeah.
It's missing.
Yeah.
It's missing.
Do you know anybody who would open one here?
Yeah, I'm up for it now.
Is that the next phase?
I just need to find
Playful Magazine, Playful Podcast, Playful Club.
Playful Cruising. Yeah, if you're an investor and you believe in us.
Yeah.
Can be a community center / cruising spot.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for chatting with me.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with my random crew that listen to the Teakink podcast? I'm still not really sure who's listening to it.
Yeah, you have to know your audience, you know.
I mean, there's a lot of women who come up to me. Yeah, and if I look at demographics, it's about 70% women, which is nice. But
it's so nice, yeah.
But I don't know yet. It's still early days for me. What about you?
Yeah, we have more men. I think it's like
the techno is taking a lot of men in there.
Okay.
Also the sex positivity, actually.
Absolutely, especially when it's on YouTube, for example. If you have, I think, but that's mostly like SEO based because people are. I think it's mostly men searching for like latex.
Oh, okay. So what's next for Playful then?
Oh, yeah. Now we're starting something called Playful TV instead. So we're gonna actually ditch our podcast and we're gonna. Not ditch it, it might come back in the future, you never know, but we're going to take a break from that and take the concept to Playful TV, where we will do micro documentaries. We will go out to visit, the same people we do see today in the podcast. We will see them at their workspaces, like in other environments. Go out from the sofa, go out from the living room in the studio, and
actually try out activities.
Try things out as well.
But also include more voices, because there are so many topics that are, if you hear one voice, maybe it's not trustworthy enough for the viewers. But if you, like, one of the things we're doing is, for example, castration fetish, and then like meeting a dom who's facilitating it, talking to some subs who have the fetish, but also maybe including a psychotherapist will make it more understandable for a certain type of viewers or listeners. So I think we just can play around more and have it a little bit more
and try things out.
Yeah.
So if you ever had an idea what you want to see me or Amanda try out, I know we can be creative about that. So.
Like Louis Theroux kind of throw you in the deep end.
Yeah.
I want to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would go through things better. So you'd get more lost. So I'd like that.
The stages.
I take it as a challenge.
Yes.
I take it as a challenge. I will go more lost.
Amazing. And is this all funded through the Patreon or?
No, I mean we have a Patreon and we will make that better now. So we'll put up we also think of putting the extra material and make it like not so safe for work.
Okay. Yeah.
When we do stuff. So
it's tricky with platforms though.
It's very tricky with platforms. We're trying to find a place where we can actually do that. Like show stuff. But
we have contacts with a few places that could facilitate it. But I think that the explicit stuff we would like to have also available.
Yeah. But otherwise, the money that we make that's from like advertisement and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So we do this.
Or YouTube,
or YouTube,
per views.
Blah, blah.
Oh, okay. I haven't gone into that kind of thing yet.
Oh, you should.
You should start on YouTube.
Okay.
They pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk about that after.
Yeah. Business meeting coming up.
But thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva, for having us.
Yes.
You're not even drinking.
Yeah, no, I'm just watching you get drunk. So thank you for listening. Speak to you next time.
Ciao.